Chairperson, and thanks Marion and your group for putting forward this motion. It's really important, and I hope that given that we've set up an all-party committee on the role of carers and with a focus on young carers, that this year and beyond we will begin to change the attitude and the climate in this country towards that very important role of caring for people in the family and at home. I mean, the statistics are startling, but just to say, the chairperson made a comment at a recent AV presentation by young people about the level of caring that they do, and she was genuinely, the chairperson here was genuinely moved to tears hearing the live testimony of the young people about how their lives are affected and what sort of day-to-day routine they carry out by caring for people. And as the motion states, there are 67,000 young people in the age group of 10 to 17 years of age in this country who provide regular unpaid care. And I asked them the question afterwards, were they aware of the number of young people who provide care to parents or guardians or loved ones because of addiction? Because it's something that I've seen from working with addiction groups in my community, groups who provide support for people living with addiction. I've seen this, you know, with my own eyes, young people who pick up the pieces for their siblings and for their parents and for their loved ones because the addiction has rendered them incapable of doing so. And they did say that that's a piece of research they have to do. That isn't taken into account in those figures, so I think those figures would soar. But the scandal, I suppose, is that the amount of money that the state saves by using the carers allowance scheme is so incredibly high, the 20 billion per year it is estimated. It can't really be measured just in terms of money, but it is an incredible high figure, and yet we only have 135,000 people approximately on carers allowance, receiving a carers allowance. And a lot of the reason is because of the means testing and the limitations that places, the way the means test is done, that it places on the ability to be able to access the carers allowance. I mean, the carers allowance is a wonderful idea. It does help for people to survive through what are very, very tough years. I acted as a carer for my mother for about 6 years. I worked about 10 hours a week as well, and those 10 hours were like, you know, leisure hours really, because you were getting away from the stress and the strain of constantly being on call and being aware and alert to somebody else's needs rather than being focused on something that you yourself can give value to. And I say that because I think it is no surprise at all that the vast, vast majority of carers are women and girls. And that really stems from a sort of society that has disrespected women, that has put them in a category of providing a specific role. It's a misogynist and sexist view of women and girls, but it has penetrated very, very deep into our system. And that is reflected very much when you look at the statistics around carers, who does it, how much they get paid, how they're disregarded, etc. So it's really important, the contents of this motion today, that we look at things like the income disregard. It has to increase. It's been kept at a sort of a capped level for many years after the banking collapse and didn't really begin to recover until 2021. So we have to really address that. And as I say, it's not so surprising that they're so badly paid, because that puts women and girls into the category of low pay, which is the reality when you look beneath the statistics of everything that happens in this country. I also want to say that one doesn't just care for the person that you live with out of a sense of oh God, I have to clean up after them or look after them or give them their medication. It actually does stem from love and affection and genuine loyalty. And that is something that you probably think shouldn't be rewarded in pounds, shillings and pence, but actually when you're giving up your time and your life and your energy to make sure that that person stays comfortable, safe, looked after without being in an institution, that's a really, really important function. I think it's a great function that we're so good at it in this country, but we need to be good at recognising the value of it and reward it properly. I'll just say on the pension scheme, I think the points that have been made by others are really, really relevant, and that we can't allow people go into their retirement years and be forgotten about just because they provided a role that was undervalued in the first place by the state. And lastly, I just want to say that there's a very interesting way of looking at how we come out of the catastrophe that we're facing at the moment in terms of climate change. Because there is an argument for us to look at the way we produce goods, the amount of goods we produce, the amount of goods we consume, and if we were to have a sort of a democratically planned society that said we don't need to produce that much stuff, we need to cut back on production, it could help to reduce our emissions and our greenhouse gas, the burning of the greenhouse gases. But the alternative to it is very interesting. The slogan for it is called A Society of Care and Repair. And it basically means that we shift our focus in society from profit and production into looking at the very human aspects of how we treat society and how we conduct ourselves. And I think that the carers and the role that they play very much falls into a model for that sort of care and repair society that we need. Therefore, we should value them absolutely wholly, not just financially, but wholly and statistically, and see them and their future and their present as being really important for this state. And the government need to carry out the functions that are in the motion, and People for Profit will of course be supporting it.
Thank you, Deputy.